But as soon as you take that fork and you stick it into that roast potato with the gravy and the stuffing, and maybe you got a bit of turkey on there as well, and some cauliflower cheese, somebody on the table goes, oh, I knew they'd break. They weren't able to keep up their dedication. You're like, man, I will come down there. Simon, hey, thank you for joining me as always. And look, my hood is up in the ET position. Because I'm just going to level with you. I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm just ranting today. I'm just raving. Because this kind of thing happens in the gym all the time. And I, for one, am quite frankly sick of it. Because just in case you stumble across this video randomly, about a month ago I had to have surgery. Boring. It's nothing serious. It's just life. But given it was we've got to open you up kind of a deal, I had to take 4 weeks off the gym, right? It wasn't one of these things where maybe you injure your arm or injure your leg and you can work around it, which you should do. But remember, always be smart and always be clever. Your health is the most important thing when it comes to health and fitness. I just had to do absolutely nothing. So I tried to keep my diet up, but I couldn't even do cardio for 4 weeks, right? And so this week, finally, somebody said, hey, Simon, you can go back to lifting heavy things and just see how you get on. Don't go back in there and go crazy. You're going to have to build up. You're going to have to take your time. So, my form is a little bit squiffy because if it hurts, I stop doing it and I'm not lifting anywhere near as much as I would like to lift, but I get it. I understand, and I go in there with the biggest jumper I can possibly find because deep down, of course, we're all crazy. We're all absolutely nuts. I mean, you shouldn't care what anybody else thinks. And actually, I do it more because of what I think about myself when I see myself in the mirror, etc. But again, it all ties in. We ain't made of granite. We're all human beings. We have emotions. We have tears, blah, blah, blah. But the point is this. When I did start doing stuff and I'm trying to protect myself as best as I can, and I'm aware that I'm not having the greatest workout ever, like I'm sweating because the jumper I was wearing was so big, but I haven't even got music on my ears. I'm just listening to podcasts and like that way I can keep myself at this kind of zen level that I need to be at so I don't re-injure myself, which is the last thing that I want. Somebody comes up to me and I'm sure their intentions were good. I'm sure their intentions were pure. I bet there was a little bit of curiosity too, because they being like, well, I remember this guy, he used to come to the gym, I didn't see him over Christmas, I haven't seen him in ages, and also, he's looking a bit different. I shall put on my detective hat, or my detective hood in this case, and try and figure out what is going on. But do you know the two things that he said to me? One, what's the deal with your form? I was doing rows at the time, because you weren't coming very high up with your damn row, but also two, why have you lost so much weight? What the flub happened? Now, I'm sure, like I say, he was just intrigued, he was just interested, but you do not get to say this type of thing to people in the gym. For starters, it's like, usually it happens this way. You haven't seen a friend or a family member for a while and you turn up and they go, well, did you not go to the gym anymore? Did you quit? Because for one reason or another, you have lost a little bit of muscle mass. But 9 times out of 10, you know this, but also you don't need to hear it. You should never go up to anybody and say this unless it's because it's out of concern. When it's a stranger, my word, what the hell is going through your head? Because all you're going to do is this. You're going to take your finger, let's pretend all your power is in your finger of power. If you know, you know. If you don't know, don't worry about it. And you're going to go, and it's going to hit the other person and they are going to become a sad panda. I know how I feel when I look in the mirror at the moment. I'm not saying I get massively depressed about it. It's within range, right? I'm able to deal with it. But you look at it and go, well, that's not the same person I remember from a few weeks ago. So when somebody else runs in and gives you a little kick in the shin, it does. It absolutely devastates you. And for some reason, and I don't think you should do this either, or if you are going to do it in a more kind and more thoughtful way. But when somebody kind of balloons up and gets quite fat, nobody walks up to them and goes, man, you got well fat. And if they do, they are considered an asshole, right? They truly are. It rarely happens when someone goes, oh yeah, man, that guy deserved it. Unless they walking around going, oh, you skinny mother hubbards. I don't know what hell goes on in people's lives. But when it comes to muscle and when it comes to lifting weights, apparently this is just perfectly fine. Apparently you're allowed to walk around and go, what happened to your bicep gains, you absolute schmo? I mean, it even goes on over Christmas is a great time to put it in. I bet so many of you went to your family dinners and you decided, you know what? I'm not going to stress this day. Maybe I'm going to have a low calorie day around my big Christmas dinner in order to justify it. But as soon as you take that fork and you stick it into that roast potato with the gravy and the stuffing, and maybe you got a bit of turkey on there as well, and some cauliflower cheese, somebody on the table goes, oh, I knew they'd break. They weren't able to keep up their dedication. You're like, man, I will come down there and I will take your head and I will stick it up this turkey's ass. Don't do it. But it's true. Now, I kind of do get it, because when it comes to losing weight or putting on weight, most human beings on the planet can understand that. And there are a huge majority of people, or a huge percentage of people, that can understand the lifting weights as well. But it is less than the whole, oh my gosh, you're fat or you're not fat. Musculature, for people that don't get it, does fit into this weird niche category. And I know this because I've been doing it a long time, and especially sort of the older generation, they look at you like you're absolutely nuts. But I am done with it, and I am absolutely sick of it. And just as a sidebar, it doesn't really matter. I got over it within about 3 seconds. I was like, well, I'm definitely going to make a video about that. But you shouldn't say these things to people because you don't know what they're going through. And there are definitely individuals out there that are a little bit more shaky when it does come to this, and they would have worked their absolute ass off to get in some kind of a shape, and then life would have knocked knock them off course a little bit. And the last thing they need to hear is, oh my gosh, it is so obvious that you're not as jacked as you used to be. Even when you are wearing a big jumper, I can tell from over here on the other side of the gym. I mean, that is not a world we should have to live in. You should take care of people and you should be aware of people's feelings. And because it's 2022 on the internet, people in the comments are like, man, grow up, you absolute snowflake. I want to grow up, right? If that's growing up, I want to be nice and I want to be caring. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And the problem is, man, we're going off on a tangent here. When you say you're nice, people go, oh, it's like you're weak. You're a coward. No, you can be nice, but also be like tough guy Jim or something like that. Those two things are not mutually exclusive. Don't forget the catchphrase, don't mistake my niceness for weakness. It's not like it's the first time this happened to me either, but usually it is with family members. I remember my grandmother, rest in peace, she was a lovely lady, but she didn't hold back either. Like when I was lifting weights and bulking, she'd be like, why are you fat now? That's what she used to say, ring me up, you still fat? I'd be like, meh, not talking to you anymore. But they would do that all the time. I remember the first time I tried to cut properly. It's a long old time ago. I absolutely screwed it up. I didn't know what I was doing. I think at one point I thought you just had to eat spinach. I don't know what that meant. Raise your eyebrow. I don't know what that means. I was quite young here. We're talking sort of like 17, 16 years old. And for some reason, I decided you had to incorporate spinach when you go on a cut. I don't know. I would have clearly read something in a magazine or a website and just totally got the wrong end of the stick. But she said to me, I got a few of these occasions actually, she said to me, oh, have you stopped going to the gym? And that was like a pierce in my heart. It would have been better if she had turned into Kano from Mortal Kombat and gone boom, 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 and ripped it out. That would have been less painful.
Kano wins.
And this happened again when I went on a press trip. Like, a little bit of a story for you. I used to work in video games. I used to run a magazine, and there used to be loads of press trips. I don't think it happens anymore. Because essentially what would happen is publishers would take you out to the developer, you would see the game, you come back and you write about it. It was a ridiculous privileged perk to have, but I'm not going to pretend that it wasn't enjoyable because it was. And then don't even come at me, oh, this is why you didn't give bad review scores. Never happened. I gave bad review scores when I wanted to give bad review scores. Did I have to have some heated conversations at times? Sure, but that comes with the gig. But again, I remember meeting up with people and some of my peers were there and the PR at the time, who I won't name because I don't think they meant anything bad by it, saying, why have you lost all this weight? And this was during another time, a few years later, when I tried to get cut again. That was actually the first time I tried to do a bodybuilding competition. And you wanted to go, mother, I've done that one a little bit better. She wanted, I'd never do this, but you wanted to sort of whip off your top and go, you see that? That's like 10% body fat, you damn asshole. Whereas, you know, if I whipped my top off when I looked a bit bigger, it'd be like, man, there's like tub of goo land. And this is the actual problem, right? People do not understand what goes into it, be it a bulking or a cut. So sometimes people call you fat and you're just doing your bulk and smashing it. Sometimes when people say you're thin and all you've done is actually got rid of your body fat. So you can't win. And you exist in this middle ground where shots are just being fired at you all the time. Now, on the off chance that somehow this guy does watch this, I get it. I ain't mad at you, but it's just something I think we could move to the side. And I thought because it's happened to me, I can share this experience. So hopefully if it does happen to you, you can be a little prepared as well, because that does happen with the gym community, as it does with all niches. Eventually we all just come together and we kind of put our shields up because like nobody else understands. So we're just going to poke everybody else away. And I suppose it comes down to education too. Like I would never go up to anybody and say this, even if I saw a really good friend of mine, if I know they'd been through a traumatic experience and I knew they weren't in the same shape, if they asked me and genuinely wanted to be honest, of course I would, but otherwise I just wouldn't say a damn thing because again, I got the sympathy and I've got the empathy. But I suppose if you're not into being a big muscular guy, why would you give a crap to begin with? You just probably think that's a thing he used to do and now it's not a thing he does, even though in actuality it's something I've missed for the last few weeks. And it almost, we did a quick video about this, it almost makes going back into the gym worse because I had my first workout yesterday, 2 days ago, whatever the hell it was. And it's just awful. You can't lift anything. Everything kind of hurts because again, you haven't, interacted with it in so long. And you just leave going, what was the point of 15 years of lifting weights if I take 4 weeks off and I'm right back to square one? Now, the reality is you're not back to square one. Muscle memory kicks in. And when you got your diet back on track, etc., and cardio, your body composition will quickly get back to where it was. But it doesn't make you feel any better at the time. Like, what's the best thing about going to the gym, if we're honest ourselves? The post-gym pump, and you look in the mirror and go, man, why can't I look like this all the time? You don't get that when you're trying to get back to zero because you're still at -2. So even after the gym, you may do a sneaky, I whip my top off. You're like, oh, no. What is this Schmerl looking back at me? I don't recognize him, and it can dent your confidence. Of course it can. Like when you are in tip-top shape and you're walking around, it makes you feel good. That's why people like going to the gym. So it stands to reason if you're in the opposite place, you're not going to feel so great. So if this does happen to you, remember, they probably don't know what they're talking about. They probably just don't understand. Go and talk to a gym friend. Hey, come and comment on one of my videos, and if I see it, I'll absolutely comment back. But I've been through it. I'm sure some of you have been through it. I'm sure the fitness YouTubers have been through it. I'm sure Steve down the street who has the best diet ever has been through it. And maybe one day people will get it, but let's be honest, they absolutely will not. So there you go. There's my rant for the day. Get in the comments below and rant away too. If you need to get something off your chest, please do it. And also, let's not lie either. It's great for the YouTube algorithm, I should say. I can't talk today. Too much coffee. Not true, I don't drink coffee. Point is, also like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Hit the bell ding ding so you know other videos are going live. There is another video on the screen. Give it a click. If you're into your supplements, GorillaMind.com/Simon. Use code Simon to get 10% off. They're also doing sales all the time. So make sure you follow me on Instagram at Simon316, which I find is the best platform to let people know about that. I really do rate them. Doesn't mean that you have to rate them. I rate them. You can do with that information as you should wish. Also, in Greg Doucette's Power 13 cookbook, which is a cookbook enabled to give you a bunch of meals that should be nice, so you want to carry on your diet. All the information is down there. I've got a Patreon, patreon.com/SimonMiller316, which is now just there to make me feel better about horrible comments. It's not true. It backs up the channel on my wrestling podcast, which you can also check out, Simon Miller's Pro Wrestling Show. What else have we got? I'm on Cameo. If you want a shout out, I've got merchandise at simonmiller.bigcartel.com. Also on Twitter at Simon316, if that's your social media platform of choice. And I think that's it. You take care of yourself. Make sure you do have some kind of shield up, and I'll come and make sure I'm shielding you back, because that's what we do as Team Gym or Team Fitness Palace of Love. Doesn't have the same ring to it. But the point is, I believe in you. Smash the gym today, and I'll see you soon.